Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner, operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and I want to welcome you to our program today. Now, I hope that you have been a regular subscriber and follower and listener to our podcast. As you will know, what we kind of do is we take an individual film, and me and a special guest will talk, conversate, have a kind of critique and analyze sometimes the film that we are talking about. Now, the movie we are talking about today, I will just tell you this. I don't know how far we're going to get with the critique and analysis part of this, but this will definitely be a great conversation. And I'm going to have this conversation with the amazing John Conkle. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
And then we are talking about the 1985 film Demons. From director Lamberto Bava. So it's going to be great to talk about this film, and we'll see how it goes.
I think it's going to be exciting, Kevin. Where do you want to start? How do you want to start this? Demons, 1985. Lamberto Bava, son of Mario Bava, who I think Mario Bava is basically, the keystone to, Italian horror. And, basically Dario ripped all his best qualities out of Mario, and now he's got his son doing his bidding. I think it's like Dario is just kind of like this weird little golem, who just doesn't want anybody else to be, doing their own thing in Italian cinema. And so he got the grandfather, and now he's got his little son. He's got his son. Like, look, Mario, I've got your son doing my bidding, like puppet mastering him. Anyway, we don't have to start there.
Funny you say that, because I came to this film by way of Dario Argento.
Right.
As we all know, Dario Argento's name is at the very top of the advertising film. And when I was in college, I was doing my deep dive of trying to find all the Dario Argento films, and that's how I came by way of this film. I had heard about it because Dario Argento, and so of course, and that's how I saw it in college in the late '90s. For the first time is how I came upon it. And I loved it. So I can't tell you why. That's the problem with this movie. The movie is completely nonsensical, but it's so goddamn entertaining. I just can't help myself.
Agreed.
And so that's how I came by way of this film. How did you come about by this film?
Right. Same exact time. We probably rented the same copy, Kevin. I mean, I was at Georgia State, late 90s. And for whatever reason, this movie has a reputation, or I had just never seen it. I knew of the sequel because I remember the sequel coming out, and I had clipped the the black and white newspaper ad out for it. And I did that. I collected all those whenever a horror movie came out, I'd clip the ad. So I knew of Demons 2, but I had never seen Demons, and I knew of Dario. All right, but this is before my Mario Bava obsession, but I knew Dario, I knew Suspiria, I knew Inferno, and so, but I was just going, hey, this might be like a horror movie taking place inside a movie theater. I thought was a really intriguing idea, but I saw it on a VHS tape, on like a 12-inch screen, like something like this big by this big, in my bedroom, terrible, and it really made an impression, and I remembered it all these years. And so when we said we're going to do this one, I was going like, oh man, is this going to hold up when I revisit it, And actually, I enjoyed it tremendously on this review, but I saw it the same thing. I probably rented it, returned it, and then Kevin, because we were at the same school, you probably got it like a minute later, but yeah, no, I watched it, and it was seeing it in college, I was going like, oh man, Italian horror films in general are kind of like my sweet spot in it. Everything, I mean, I just love the Mario and the Dario and the Lamberto, and I love Italian knockoffs of American products, like all the Escape from New York and Road Warrior Italian cheesy knockoffs. I think those are amazing. And Kevin, what I think when you say I'm not sure why this movie holds up. For me, I think this movie holds up because it has just got this bravado showmanshipness to it, and the Italian cinema knows how to, even on low budgets, give you your money's worth. You know, even though if they have a tin can and some silver spray paint for the future, they go for it, you know. And what I like about this movie is it really goes for it, and it's 1985, and it is gleefully, garishly gory.
Yeah.
You know, like push your face into the muck gory. And with all, puppets and great transformations and but just nasty. And you forget the visceral quality of these movies from the 80s and the horror movies. And around this time, 85, 86, the MPAA was really starting to, after Friday, you can look at the difference between Friday the 13th 5 to Friday the 13th 6. All right. 1 year later, they were going like, we can't do this anymore. We're corrupting the youth, right? And so 1985 may have been, and 1985 was Day of the Dead, So, I mean, that's kind of like these high watermarks of, just gross movies. And the Italians, are really good at saying like, or, trying to import, American Argento with Hitchcock stuff, and this movie with that's why I like Mario Bava. He's sort of like his own thing, and kind of like we borrowed from him. But Dario movies, especially this movie, I think is very in debt to, of course, the Romero movies, but also to Evil Dead, And I think these demons are very, very Deadite like.
Oh no, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think they did this great thing, just like what they did with the Road Warrior ripoffs, where Dario, was king of Italian cinema, so he had the budget, to sort of try to, and he just had all the Mario influence, plus it just goes pedal to the metal trying to import that Evil Dead style movie into Italian cinema, and it is just so gross.
It is, but I like to say that it's gross, but it's not in the way that it's so ridiculously realistic that
absolutely
it pushes audiences away like a torture porn film. It's got all the saturated colors and the complete craziness embedded in this gore, and
right.
A lot of times you're not really scared. You're just, oh man. I think for me, even though I saw it in the 90s, it always felt like an 80s movie because of those aesthetics. And I always love, because me and you, we kind of we love those 80s movies for their not just their kind of storytelling and what they did, and they took a lot of chances, but kind of like that aesthetic of 80s films that is gone from any other filmmakers trying to do stuff like that nowadays.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. It's got the sweet spot for me where it's gross, but it's not mean spirited. Which, So a lot of like the Terrifier movies that are real popular right now. I mean, mean spirited. I just can't enjoy them because they have kind of like this vicious attitude towards people that I can't. Bring it here. I got people transversing, but let's see here. What is this? This is not yours, bro. This is Abby's.
No, she gave it to me.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. It's all good. We love it. Hey, just like in the movie Demons, where just random stuff happens, and so that's what we get here.
Yeah.
Just to get everyone into this, if you've never seen the movie Demons, it's pretty simple. plot wise, and we haven't even mentioned anything like that. But essentially, someone is giving away a bunch of free passes to this movie that they're screening for the first time in this new theater, like it's a world premiere. And so all these random people, random different lifestyles and different backgrounds, are going to see this amazing movie. But they have no idea what it is. It could be a romance, it could be a horror, it could be a western. For some reason, these people just go to this movie because it's free. And of course, when they walk in, it's all in the lobby. There's all these amazing artifacts and stuff in there that they get to see. And unfortunately, one of the patrons, I guess, I think her name is Greta. Because I actually have like the Greta doll behind me, that they produced. I'm a huge fan of the Demon, so I have like the mask, a replica of the mask. I have the Greta bobblehead. I know it's all kind of crazy. And so she tries to put this on the mask, the iconic mask of the Demon, and she gets herself scraped by the inside of the mask. And she gets infected, and that's when starts the infection that will eventually engulf the entire everyone who's in this theater. So that's where the ideals from like the Evil Dead is. Once one's infected, it goes really fucking fast. Once one person gets infected, Greta, she just starts infecting lots of other people, and all hell breaks off. And these people get stuck in the movie theater with no way out.
Yeah.
And there's no real way to kind of describe all of the different things that happen, because patrons just run off in different directions, and they get infected by other demons because it just grows like a plague really fast. And so there's a lot of set pieces in the film where you're seeing the different patrons, where they're set up at the very beginning, and then they get killed at some point. So, but it's the thing is with this movie,
that's it.
I like it. The set pieces are very unique for this film because it takes place in the theater. So it's a horror film that people are watching, actually then experiencing their own personal horror. And that's about the most you can get deep wise in what the movie's trying to say or make fun of. So, in my opinion,
right,
my opinion,
yeah. I mean, I think there is some layers there that we can peel back, but it's mainly the concept of a horror movie taking place in a movie theater that's showing a horror movie, and where the horror becomes real is such a great idea, high concept idea, and they really visualize it and dramatize it perfectly when the horror starts, and the character that's been attacked by the first rips through the screen into the audience. And I'm going like, that is like a brilliant way to display that this evil has like come into reality, and there's a lot of, and there's just so many like memorable visuals like that in this movie. Another one of my favorites is the dad. Well, another thing. Okay, so
go ahead.
So the characters that are all inside this movie theater are like so interesting. All right, so they really did a good job making different archetypical type characters to be at the theater. You got, they're very distinct. You've got like the old married couple who are on their anniversary, but they just don't like each other, and then you've got the really interesting blind guy with his daughter who goes there to have a rendezvous, on the side, and then the girls who just are going to get away from the pressures of college, and then like there's like the guy with the two girls, and everything, and you think he's going to be the hero, because really in real life he would have been the hero, because he is cool, calm, collected. He tells everybody what to do, and he's just like, he's kind of like the Dwayne Jones, he just comes in and takes over, and you think he's going to be probably the hero there. And so when they get rid of him, it's like, oh my gosh, who's going to run things?
Yeah, because they they do a good job
Mm-hmm.
making this as much of an ensemble, so you don't know who's going to die next.
That's it.
And so it keeps the audience on their toes because it's not playing with your normal tropes with a horror film where you get to know, oh, she's the main character. She's gonna be the final girl. She's gonna end up at the very end of the movie type of thing. They don't really have that here.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, everybody is so distinct, and everybody's so interesting. Even like the usher girl, you think, or the girl, the one employee of the movie theater. It's like
yeah,
the redhead with the green.
Oh, the one you think is actually knows what the hell's going on, but
Right,
is
right.
real, she knows about as much as everyone else.
She's just a weird girl who works at the movie theater.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to work in a movie theater. I remember having to go around. We didn't have a flashlight, but you did just have to walk around and go like, hey, you know, keep people from making out and keep people from smoking, you know, and everything. So I was like, I remember that. I was like, hey, put that out, you know, and everything. But yeah, no, all the characters are very interesting. And I think the set pieces, as you said, and the visuals, I think really do stick with you. And one of my favorite is the dad after he gets his eyeballs taken out, him crawling under the seats. Because they make that big barricade, you know, and they go like they think they hear something in the seats, or like it's just the chairs settling. But then they cut inside, and there's this dad crawling with his eyes removed through it all, and I'm going like, oh, it's so messed up because he's not even like possessed yet. I don't think he's just been, yeah. So I mean, I had forgotten how much that scene had kind of stayed with me, and I think I inadvertently put it in other things, you know. Not to self plug or anything, but you know, there's the zombies in Zombique with the eyes removed, and they're kind of crawling through the whatchamacallit, the crawl space at the end. There's a scene where an Isla zombie is crawling through the crawl space. I was like, oh man, I totally ripped that off Demons. But anyway, but no, I think Kevin, if we were to look at it, in a more critical view, I would say I'll try to just stick to one point at a time here. All right, because I want to talk about the helicopter falling through the roof.
Everybody wants to talk about the helicopter falling through.
I mean, it's at that point where you go, the helicopter falls through the roof of the movie theater, and they do it, you know, low budget. I watched it again. I go like, it looks like a miniature, you know, ceiling that. Anyway, very interesting. But they go, that's what I'm saying, man. This movie goes for it, you know? It's like, it's spectacle and set piece and you know, that they had there's a certain amount of audacity to this movie that makes you just feel like, oh man, they're really trying to give me my $5 worth, you know?
Well, it is because George, who ends up becoming our main character, just because he's one of the ones that aren't infected. Like, there's no real reason why he becomes the main character. Has some amazing. Before we get to the whole helicopter flying through, he's one of the few men who tries to kind of organize some of these people here, and he doesn't always do a really good job of it. But but in the last act, when it's him and Cheryl, which is one of the other, just to be honest with you, Cheryl, who survives for most of the film, is just another random theater goer. In actuality, like, she doesn't have any discernible characteristics other than being like a student who's just been talked into going to this movie for the first time, and she doesn't like horror films. But she screams a lot. That's pretty much what she does. But George, on the other hand, at one point, because he's trying to save her, decides to go into the lobby and grab the samurai sword and the motorcycle. Why there's a motorcycle in the lobby on display? Who knows? But it's cool. You know, the samurai sword. And he has one of the most intriguing sequences where he drives the motorcycle with the samurai sword through the inside of the theater, chopping off and chopping up some of the infected just to save Cheryl. It's a hilarious sequence.
It's so
It's
good.
cool. It's cool.
It's
It's not
cool.
what you're expecting in a
Right.
demon possessed movie. It's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
an action sequence right here.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the helicopter just drops through the ceiling. And you kind of wonder, this movie went there. There's a
Yeah.
fucking helicopter that
And a lot.
we're not told why. It just dropped from the ceiling. I tried to figure that whole thing out myself, but I would think that if the whole world was infected, maybe that might happen. But to be honest with you,
Yeah.
at that point in the movie, I believe that I know that there is a couple of demons that escaped through that alley sequence,
Right.
but the whole world can't be infected that fast, really.
Yeah, no, they leave the movie theater at the end, and it's like, post-apocalyptic, or it's like full Romero infection has taken over the city and everything. Let me talk about that, what you just talked about with the samurai sword
Okay.
and the motorcycle, because this is probably, if I was to be hoity-toity about analyzing demons, all right, and channel the Eddie Von Mueller moment and everything about this movie. I think this movie is really special because of details like that. But what I think the movie is trying to say, okay, or what the movie is trying, why this movie it resonates so well with me, okay, is that the ritual of Saturday night seeing a horror movie with your best gal or somebody you like, for me, because growing up in the suburbs, you didn't have a giant serpent to battle in Conquest to prove your chivalrous bravery to the gal that you were interested in. All right. So what you had were horror movies that promised a night of terror and horror. And it was a way for you to show, like, don't worry, I got you, to the person you were interested in. And so it was like this manufactured challenge. It used to be like, oh, how can you watch stuff like that? I was always like, it gave me kind of a rush to watch a good horror movie, but it wasn't like, but it was like sometimes, you feel that fear and you overcome it and you watch it and you get through it and you feel better. And so it's a weird way that the suburbs or art and culture can challenge you in a way, but it also was kind of like, for me, a ritual to prove your bravery to the gal you took to the movie. All right, because maybe they'll go like, and you go like, don't worry, I got you, and everything. So it's a weird thing. So the movie takes it up to 11, where the horror where it takes it literal, where the horror of the movie becomes actual real world horror. And he's got to prove his chivalrous nature to her and protect her from the horror that's now real. And they do it in the coolest way by giving him a motorcycle as a stand-in for a horse, and a samurai sword as a stand-in for like an Excalibur. So he becomes like a modern knight and, fights off the demons and has her on the back, and he saves her. And so I think it's like a cool metaphor for what was the experience of seeing a horror movie as a teenager or a young adult, or what maybe the function of these type of movies were for people like me, or why horror movies always make so much money, every time they come out. They can always double your money whenever they come out. There's this kind of need, I think. There was like this need. Did you ever go through the thing where like I'm going to watch the grossest thing ever, or like the most disturbing movie ever made, and it's kind of a rite of passage to see some of these movies, and so that rite of passage, that's sort of what movies were, Saturday night movies. Seeing a horror movie was kind of a rite of passage, and at the end he proves himself and saves her, and then there's this nice little stinger where, oh well, we're up the movie, but yeah.
So it's interesting you say that, because some of the stuff that you have interpreted, I've also interpreted.
Sure.
I've always seen this movie
Mm-hmm.
as the quintessential theatrical experience where,
Mm-hmm.
and they set it up really nicely. We've just touched on it a little bit earlier, where all the people that we see are types of different couples.
Yeah.
I always saw this movie as like the ultimate date night or friends going out seeing a movie
Right.
that actually is within a movie type of thing. And I always thought that was a cool concept
Yeah.
for the overall movie.
Yeah.
I never thought about the whole night and that whole thing is different. I never thought about that, but because I was too distracted by a cool ass helicopter just
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. The movie's nuts.
But that I could actually go with, because essentially the character of George has been once George and his friend, I can't remember his friend's name, are trying to hook up with these two girls. They're trying to save them as much as they can.
Yeah.
And be the chivalrous guy that because they find these two ladies attractive. And that's all he's trying to do the whole movie is save her. And so I could see that now. I never thought about that before. I was too distracted by the helicopter.
There's so much stuff going on, but I think because of that subtext, that's why this movie holds up, and people are still talking about it. But yeah, no, there's so much going on. That helicopter falling through, and then I guess they are able to get the rotor to go enough to, if people happen to be in the way, if the demons happen to be in the way, they can cut them, But no, it's such a nuts movie. There's a lot of nuts movies, but a lot of them don't go on to start franchises and are still talked about, And so what I think, because this movie has that other layer to it, and it's a universal thing that everybody can relate to, going to see a horror movie and using it as like a rite of passage, or it's like weird. Like horror movies are like weird, like mating rituals.
They are.
It's like the guy can go like, "Oh, we're gonna go into this dark cave, and I'm gonna protect you."
Yeah.
And so it's weird. It's weird how we've got that need, and society has constructed these things to provide that to young people. It's crazy,
I could agree with that, because on many different occasions in which I've taken young ladies out to our first dates, they've always been horror movies.
Yeah.
But not movies I necessarily would have picked.
Right.
Right. I mean, me and my wife, we always go see the latest Scream movies. For some odd reason, she doesn't like horror movies, but she loves the Scream movies,
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. I think the Scream movies are very interesting in that way, where horror movies, but women who usually don't like horror movies, they like the Scream movies, and I think it's because they've got very strong female characters, it's not just a gratuitous nudity opportunity, it's they usually are driving the plot,
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah. No. So anyway, And the other thing I would say about this movie that I thought was real interesting was uh the concept of in like the early 80s, this movie is very deep into the satanic panic and like the corrupting influences of pop culture on people. All right. Where I think it's a really good double feature with like the movie Trick or Treat, with the satanic music, bringing, causing real life problems. But this one's really good because it's saying like the art, the violent art is literally infecting the audience and driving them to violence, which I think was a real, Kevin, go into the Wayback Machine. And do you remember when like horror movies in the 80s were considered as like dangerous and taboo and like, there was a certain subversive nature to the fact that these movies are being made and they're trash and they're one step above pornography and you shouldn't let your kids watch it. And so if you had, I had to sneak Fangora into the house as if it was
I
like,
did too. I did
yeah,
too.
yeah. It was almost like it was Playboy or something like that. It was like you had to like go out, get it, and like hide it. And so horror movies used to be like that. I think people probably nowadays would think that's like ridiculous, that when stuff like Walking Dead is on primetime television,
As
it's
popular show as it is, yeah. Back in
yeah.
the day when we were growing up, we didn't have that.
Mm-mm,
We
mm-mm.
had Fangoria. There were others. Fangoria isn't the only one, but
Sure.
Fangoria had the more grisly covers.
Right.
I never bought that in front of my parents. I
No.
would always, I would always go and make sure my parents were nowhere around. I'd
Right.
buy it and then I'd
Hmm.
hide it from them.
Right. Right.
And this is despite the fact my parents used to take me to go see horror films.
Yes.
They
Right.
didn't
Right.
really buy me stuff like Fangoria, you
No.
know?
No.
You
Oh,
know,
oh, and then later, a horror of horrors, Gore Zone, the
yeah,
spinoff.
Warzone. That was
Oh, you know, no,
Yeah, I
no.
think my parents would have. Yeah, they would have had to do a double take if they saw me purchasing those
Right.
magazines with those gruesome covers on it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like I've told lots of people, my dad may have taken me to a lot of horror movies, whenever I wanted to see. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily that he ever watched them. He
Yeah.
probably bought us the tickets and he disappeared out of the theater. Guarantee you, he wasn't sitting in the theater all the time, every time he went to the movies. And
Oh, absolutely.
I know he was falling asleep at some of them, so you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, my parents were like well see, I had a split house, so dad to be cool on the weekend would be like, yeah, let's go see whatever you want to go see. And I go like, because home was like no R-rated movies or something like that, or like, they would have to, cut or say like, no, no, you can't see that, but dad to be cool would be like, yeah, let's go see the grossest thing out, and everything. But yeah, he would disappear halfway through the movie or, fall asleep or whatever.
Yeah, my dad never did
Um,
that a lot. So
yeah.
in this day and age, I could if this day and age, if I was growing up, I can guarantee you my parents would be outside the theater on their
Oh,
phones playing TikTok.
yeah,
But we back
absolutely.
in the '80s, we didn't have all that. So I
Mm-mm.
just turned around and he's done disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, no. I used to I saw a lot of them like mid to late 80s on at the Lakewood Twin on what is now Metropolitan Avenue. And it's probably the closest thing, Stewart Avenue. And I that was probably the closest I ever had to a grindhouse experience because it was like that theater was falling apart and there was a hole in the ceiling. And when it rained, it would rain on part of the
Oh my
theater.
god!
Yeah, but I saw a lot of good stuff out there. But yeah, yeah, people would, park me there. I watched like the stuff, but it was subversive. What we're saying is it was
Yeah,
subversive at the time, and so, anyway, there was this fear of culture infecting people. But what the movie is kind of cool about is it's saying that this art allows you to challenge yourself and maybe overcome fears. And actually it serves as, as like a mating ritual to people. It's got like this thing. So there's this great paranoia, but there was that paranoia at the time, which was in other movies, and I think this movie uh is a great example of that genre,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I do like to also kind of use this movie, Demons and Demons 2, as kind of those Italian movies that people forget are Italian movies.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of friends who
Mm-hmm.
have seen Demons,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't say, or they can't say that they've ever seen much of any other Italian movies.
Oh
They
yeah.
were like, I
Yeah.
mentioned any of the Lucio Fulci movies, they're like,
Yeah.
what? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even Zombie. Like they have
Wow.
never seen Zombie or
Yeah.
Zombie Flesh Eaters or Zombie 2, or however the hell you want.
However you want to call it. Yeah.
They've never seen that.
Yeah.
They've never seen Suspiria.
Oh
Suspiria is one
yeah.
of the more popular ones, but if I tell them if they've seen Phenomena, or what
Mm-hmm.
was it called before? It was called not
Creepers.
Creepers. If I say
Yeah.
Creepers, some of them have seen Creepers.
Right.
But
Right.
if I say Phenomena, they're like, what? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Connelly movie. Oh,
Yeah.
Creepers.
Oh, creepers.
You know,
Right. Right.
stuff like
Right.
that. It's,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where me and you, who obviously we love our Italian horror
Yeah.
films. We've
Yeah.
seen like all of them. But Demons is this
Yeah.
movie that, like Evil Dead and Dawn of the Dead,
Mm-hmm.
just clicks with a lot of people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've never
Yeah.
understood why. I've
Yeah.
always found the film to be extremely entertaining. And
Mhm.
it's the Lamberto Bava film I've seen more than any of his other films. And I love
Yeah.
Lamberto Bava.
Yeah.
This is the one I've seen more than any of his other films.
Oh yeah. It just cooks, man. It fires on all cylinders, and probably the budget was low, but I mean, not bottom of the barrel. They had a lot of practical effects, and they were able to stage a helicopter to fall through the roof. You wouldn't even dream of that. But what was interesting, what I really liked was how they tried to make the theater bigger than it probably. I mean, it basically looks like it's a balcony and an auditorium
Yeah.
and a place, and so it's like three things and a stairway, and
And another building connected to it.
right,
Yeah.
right. I didn't understand what they were trying to do there, though, where they break through the wall, and then they're in like a hallway, and then they're in like a back room. I was going like, is this really? Or is this supposed to say like they're in some weird time dimension thing where there is no escape from the theater because it's just going to break into another wall, another room? I was trying to, were they trying to do something supernatural, or was it just like, oh, now we're cut off or something? I couldn't understand. I guess it was easier though to break through the wall than to try to take the. Oh no, well it is supernatural because they took the doors down. They tear them down, and there's bricks behind
Yeah.
it. So there's something, yeah, something weird and supernatural going on there with
Well,
that.
yeah, because the other ones, they go through that one side door and get out to the alley. So it's something supernatural, something weird going on there.
Right, right.
Plus, you gotta remember, someone had to be in charge of setting this whole damn thing up. Anyways, we just
Yeah.
see the one character who gives out the tickets, but we're not really sure exactly what's going on. And to be
No.
honest with you, do we really care?
No, not at all. Not at all. I guess a little bit of trivia. I guess the guy with the mask is went on to direct several movies. That's the guy with the mask on that's I'm gonna mess up his name, Michael Sauvé,
Yeah,
who went on, yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, he went on to do a lot of other great movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
So
trying to
this is
think
gonna
of.
be
I don't think we've done any of his movies on the show yet. So we are slowly, for everyone listening, we are slowly delving into the Italian directors,
yeah.
which is one of the reasons why we're highlighting Lamberto Bava. Hopefully, we'll get through more.
Yeah.
We have done some Lucio Fulci movies, but we haven't done any Dario Argento movies. And we're gonna try and check
Interesting.
for this year.
All right.
We're going to
All
try
right.
and delve into a lot of the other directors out there, more Spanish, Italian, hopefully a couple of German horror films, stuff like that. There's just so many great directors and great other
It
countries
is.
with different stories to explore.
Absolutely. Well, we got cinema, like, it's 120 years or so, and
Of
everything
great horror cinema.
of
So
great. Exactly. And it's just like every year they were making stuff. So you just will never catch up. I mean, Kevin, if anybody could catch up, it would be you, sir. But I mean, if there's still holes in your filmography. I mean,
oh
good
yeah,
grief.
I've been spending a lot of time catching up with Giallo films in the last couple of years.
So it's
I mean, there are a ton of Giallo films, and we haven't.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we've done any Giallo. I think we've done a couple Giallo films on the show, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So,
Very nice. Very nice. Well, yeah.
But do you have other thoughts about Demons?
I think I was able to get the main thing. What did I say here?
So he's going through his notes, making sure
going through my notes.
He touches upon all of his great ideals that he had that he wanted.
All these. Oh yeah.
The music.
No. Yeah.
I do want to talk about the music.
Okay.
It's amazing for this film.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Goblin? Oh my god! Because I've been watching so many Italian films, I couldn't remember who did the music for this movie. Crumbs. I have to look it up.
Yep.
Because I don't want to get it wrong.
Right. Right. The comment section will be like, "You say you know something about horror."
The problem is that Dario Argento used so many different people during this time for all this, and so you sometimes forget. Or you get it all confused, and I don't want to get it confused. And it's because I like Claudio Simonelli.
Okay.
So who did a lot of Dario Argento. See, I didn't want to get it completely wrong.
Right.
When I talk about that, but he's still working actually. Which I didn't realize. So
yeah, cool.
Kind of cool. I hadn't heard his name in a while. I know why I haven't heard of his name for a while, because a lot of the movies that he's been doing lately are not films I'm familiar with at all. So
right.
Huh.
Well, as you no, I don't really have anything huge to say or anything. I think I got my main stuff out, but I am just like looking on the IMDb photo gallery, and it captures so much of what makes this movie great. Of just flipping through that, you go like, my gosh, the cinematography, the gel lighting, and just the set pieces, as you were saying, is just such a beautiful movie that I think that's another reason why it holds up. There's an artistry behind it and a showmanship quality behind it that really makes it. And we probably should go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think you just brought up something when you say showmanship.
Yeah.
When they did these movies, they weren't playing towards the lowest common denominator. Easily spent a lot less money and produced something that was a lot less explosive, is I guess is the best word for it. Because this was a far cry from what either Dario Argento or Lamberto Bavo was doing before this. This movie was probably a big deal because it was such an expansive thing with all of the effects, all of the cinematography, the music, the editing, and the freaking helicopter dropping down. So even the action sequences with the motorcycle. At the end. I mean, this is a big concept movie. It wasn't, even though it's made to export to a lot of different countries, easily understood. But it and entertains. It is not like the multitude of really bad sword and sandal films being produced at the same time, and the Road Warrior ripoffs.
Right.
It's something that sets itself up as its own thing.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, it's just got that. It's got juice to it, you know.
There you go.
And yeah, and so I don't know what causes juice to happen in a movie. You know, I mean, it's just like the influences and the time it was made in, with the effects that were available at the time, or it just really concoct into something special. You know, I'm
Yeah,
looking at this image of the girl. She's like on all fours, and where that demon comes out of her back. I mean, it's
yeah,
just like. It's like they didn't have to put that in there. I mean, they didn't have to make it so wild and crazy, but they did. And
yeah,
you appreciate it when they put the effort in.
yeah.
You see so
Oh,
many
I,
movies. Yeah, you see so many movies where it's just like, let's do just the bare minimum to make it into movie status, you
yeah,
know? And there's so much like, you know, like I see a lot of modern movies where it's like they'll just have people driving in cars talking to each other. And I'm just going like, what is going on? Why are they talking so much?
well, my thing is this. When this film was made, and the 80s were a great example of this because they did this a lot. The idea was to present audiences with new and interesting concepts and ideals that will
Mhm.
not only shock them, but keep them like it will stay with them after they've watched it. I
Yeah.
have to mention this because I just watched this and thought
Okay.
this was the most boring piece of shit movie I've seen all year.
Okay.
But I have to mention, I just recently saw the Legacy sequel. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I thought it was a
Oh.
piece of shit. Uh, I will say that out loud. It is a piece of shit because the filmmakers didn't even try to make
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are they are riding on the coattails of stars that barely
Right.
do anything in the movie, and
Right.
they didn't even try.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems to be the thing that happens in the modern day horror film community, where you see comments or it was a little lackluster.
Mhm.
The comments are like that because they don't try to make
Yeah.
something new and something interesting and will stay with an audience. They
That's
just
it.
go by the numbers.
Yeah.
And the one thing Demons doesn't do at all is go by anybody's numbers.
Nah. Nah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, it's got too much interesting ideas and too much talent involved,
Yeah.
you know, working off each other and being, you know, there's the American influence, but they
Yes.
totally Italianize it, you
Yes.
know, and and making it its own thing. Okay, if I wanted to say one more highfalutin idea out
Okay.
of this movie, all right, is maybe we can say that the as I stroke my beard trying
Yeah, yeah. You're thinking of something there. I know.
no, I'm trying to figure out how to say it, but this is probably a bridge too far. Okay, I would say that American influence on Italian and the exporting of Americanism into other European cultures. Okay,
Okay.
I think it's we can see the American influence on this movie. I think that people are afraid of the watering down of their culture with the invasion of Americanism. All right, and it making everything kind of a uh, corrupting the the native culture with this American influence, okay? And uh, and what I was thinking, what I think visualizes that in the movie is the punks driving around and they're snorting Coca-Cola. You know, they got cocaine in the Coke, and they're
Yeah.
like, you know, and I was going like, well, I was like, why are they doing that? You know, I mean, it's a pun, but maybe there's something because I was going like the corrupting influence of pop culture on people, and there is a fear of being contaminated by pop culture.
Huh. Interesting.
That in there, I was going like maybe they're saying maybe there's a statement against, you know, globalization. Or, I don't know. I think I've disappeared up my own butthole in there, but it was something I was thinking about.
Okay.
That's about that's about all I got. I don't know what I was trying to get at there, but it's something.
I'm sure it will come back to you when we decide
I
to
think.
discuss Demons 2 later in the year.
Oh yes. Okay, great. I can't wait. I'll save some. Maybe I'll be able to form a thought on that later. But I think. Oh, and we just gotta say how great the movie in the movie is on this movie.
Oh yeah.
All right. The fake movie playing on the screen is really kind of a cool movie. You know.
Yeah, it makes you seem as though they had fun doing both versions, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Anyway. Okay. That's all I got. That's all I got. You know.
All right. I want to thank you, Kyle, for joining us on this Conversations in Horror. For everyone who's listening, what we like to do is we like to rate the movie between 1 and 5, and we usually use an object, quote, or something out of the movie to rate it by. But 1 being poor, 5 being amazing. Where on the spectrum and what object or quote do you wish to rate this movie, Conkle?
Okay. Well, I just the demon mask is what pops into my head. So I give this movie, and I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling very in resonating with this movie right now. So I'm going to give this movie 5 demon masks out of 5 demon masks. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well,
I'm even going to look past the flaws. There are flaws. There's those punk characters show up and they really have no say on the plot at all.
And then when they finally make their way to the theater, they get dispatched really fast.
Very quickly. So there was some wasted time there. But I'm forgiving it because it makes up for it in all the other little things it does for me.
So for me, I'm going to give it 5 slices for the samurai sword.
Nice.
Did I say 5? I meant 4 slices.
Okay, 4. Okay, that's fine.
I meant 4 because the thing is, I know there are some people who will give it much less than that, but the thing is, I've never been bored from this film ever. Mm-mm. This film, every time I watch it, I always sit and it just warms the cockles of my heart to watch this movie because it's just so goddamn entertaining. And
absolutely,
even though the film has its flaws, the flaws never take away from that entertainment value. Some of the flaws actually work in its favor. There's such a huge ensemble. And the fact that it goes there at the very end by killing the person that you think is going to survive, you just think she's going to survive, and they kill her.
Yeah,
it's a shocking ending, but I think the whole movie is designed to be shocking.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I played this movie in front of friends of mine. I had when I was doing my little horror screenings when I was young. I actually screened this one, and people love this movie.
Absolutely.
This is a great movie to watch with people and enjoy. So, with that, I hope that you have all enjoyed this episode of Conversations in Horror. I hope that if you have never seen the movie Demons, that you will seek it out. And if you have seen the movie Demons, I hope that after listening to this conversation, you'll go out there and reevaluate it. It is really a great, entertaining Italian movie from the 80s. And that alone should get you interested in rewatching it multiple times. And definitely watch it with friends and neighbors and your most significant other.
That's right.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But I hope that you've enjoyed this program. Please make sure to check out previous episodes of this program. They are all available on YouTube, Spotify, and your favorite podcast app. Also, remember to check out our other podcast, Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors, which is always the first and third Friday of every month. From all of us here at Something Wicked Entertainment, we want to wish you great listening experiences. And I wish I had something better to say other than that.
No, that's good.
I have right now.
I love it. I love it.
Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bravo.
Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka.
All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken House Pictures.